Hi, this is a quick disclaimer at the beginning of the video. The drawings only get interesting after the 20th point mark, so 20 minutes in, because the sketchbook starts from 2022 and it gets to 2023. In my opinion, the 2023 part is better than the 2022 one, so if you wish to have an actual more interesting tour, wait for these two pictures to show up. But if you want to enjoy very awkward content of me roasting the art that comes before it, be my guest. Yes. And that's about it. Hello, people on the internet. Hi. Hello to anybody who used to be subscribed to this channel for actual art content and then saw nothing for the past 5 years or perhaps even more. Hi to anyone who happens to stumble upon this video and has no idea who I am, as that is completely normal. But yes, hi, my name is Taddy. I work on webcomics and try to write novels in my spare time. I work with my friend Candy on a vast number of characters and stories, and I used to post a lot of art-related content, a lot of sketchbook-related content, as everybody used to like that best. It's been a while since I came back to this platform. I sort of disappeared from it because of anxiety and other related issues, but I have been fascinated by sketchbook tours and I wanted to come back into them since they used to be the content that I thrived for, the content that I particularly enjoyed making. So I decided to come back with this spontaneous video. I actually don't know if I'm going to post this or not, if it's going up anywhere, if there will be any reception from it, but why not? I had a huge issue with art in terms of like completing artwork or doing anything with it, so it's been quite a journey. The camera might be shaky, I have a tripod, but it doesn't necessarily work as best as I wish it did, as good as I wish it did, but this video is just self-indulgent to see that I've completed one sketchbook in 2023, even though the start of this book is only the half of the year, but I'm completing my second one. Maybe if I feel confident enough, I will do a review of that one. But yes, for now, let's start, I suppose. Let's not waste any more time. So this book I actually bought when I was 13, 14. I am 24 now, so it's been a while. But anyway, I started this in September 2022, and then I decided to draw in it daily. So this sketchbook is basically just going to be an excuse to ramble about Candy and I's characters and the stories that we work on, and sort of like a time capsule, because a lot of things have changed, a lot of characters have developed, so perhaps if you're not into that type of sketchbook tour, you don't have to watch it. I don't think anybody will really watch this to begin with, but I figured I might give it a try. So I bought this book 10 years ago, and I always suffered from the I don't want to ruin it syndrome. So these are our characters, Jacques and Silas. Their story is set into 1914, 1917 France. So I drew them together since there was this really pretty background that was drawn onto the page. I think this is washi tape that I didn't even take out. This is a quick sketch of Jacques. We were starting to write their story back then, starting to work on their lives, their backstories, how they'd met, what kind of people they were, what kind of character they were, and so I decided to do this really long thing, this long picture of him. This is Lessa. Some of you might remember the older characters that used to be shown on these sketchbook tours. Some of you may not. As I said, I don't really expect anyone to be watching these from my old quote-unquote audience. I never really had an audience. It's just a small number of people that used to enjoy the content. But yes, so this is also another thing that has changed within the story. This is Lessa. I can't really say much about this story, not necessarily because it's spoilers or anything, simply because it's very complex. to explain. And yes, then there is this other picture of Jacques and Silas. This is, I hate this picture, the way that the faces are shaped and everything, but this is 2022, so I'm trying not to think too harshly about it, because I also hate the white pages on the side, and I'm trying to get to the 2023 part quite fast. A very badly proportioned sketch of Les and De Yun. I will go fast on this first part. Lawrence and a German soldier. He is Dutch. This was actually inspired by season 2 of Words and Warrants, of volume 2 of Words and Warrants that we're working on, which is set, the first one is set after World War I, the second one is set at the beginning of World War II, and it gets to the end of World War II, and that's exactly what the situation was. Daniel and Ray and Patrick, this was for his birthday, so this is still September 2022. Again, I will just quickly go over these. Leviathan, he is a demon in the Kavekanem storyline. He's a child demon, of course, and his favorite animals are frogs, so I put him into this little frog outfit. Okay, this is more of the things that I've done later in the sketchbook. It's a little scene. It's Lessa with Damien, and they found a little stray cat, I think, and the whole story went that Damien, who is much more of a hard ass, I suppose you could call him, usually walk on Lessa, doing cute things or things that he considers to be not manly or masculine enough. And so he often reprimands him, but Lessa is, I suppose, unstoppable. Dahlia, alright, some of you might remember Dahlia if you are from my old videos, but this is her. You might even remember that she cut her hair at the end of the story, the old story that was set up. She's still here, she's still causing a ruckus, just in different ways than she used to. My hand is already hurting from folding this. Lessa, this was a study from the beginning of the story that we're making with him, the beginning of the novel / webcomic. He got new clothes. The proportion in this are absolutely terrible, but then again, I kind of loathe most of my 2022 artwork. I'm trying to be okay with it. Okay, Solomon and Vey. A bunch of these pictures that come next are meme pictures, so pictures that I took from quite literally Pinterest or Instagram or any meme format that I thought was cute. So I drew Vey, and then I drew Vey and Solomon because they look really cute together. This one I actually don't mind as much. I think that Solomon's face turned out all right. More memes. Solomon and Vey. I won't turn this, but it's Damien, and there's Lessa and Dayan. Well, Dayan and Lessa smooching in the back, because Damien is always making fun of them being quite gay in public. Another meme, Lessa choking his own shadow, Dayan putting on eyeliner with a knife. This was supposed to be Leslie and Even, and they were supposed to have like a whole strip of people. You know that meme that used to go around on Tumblr like 8 years ago when people entered a haunted house and they reacted differently? This was supposed to be it. Dayan and Lessa in that one Slav Squad meme thing, and that's Elaine walking in on them. The FUCK, the cops meme, this is Lucian and Ulysses. They are indeed cops. He's a detective. Lessa, just random Lessa. This is another, I wouldn't say meme, there was a post on Tumblr. I used to be really active on Tumblr, for those who remember, those who don't remember, I'm not sure. But there used to be a post going on Tumblr where this girl had talked about how she had had a panic attack in Toronto, Canada, and her boyfriend had laid with her and kind of like comforted her and helped her. So that was inspired by that with Lessa and Dayan. This was kind of like the continuation of this, and this is Daniel. He is just holding this tiny little train thing. He's a fan of toy trains, so he buys a lot of them because he needs to be stopped. very ugly Frederick that I will not spend time on, and also wasted space. So much wasted space in this first part of the book. I won't even really turn this. It's Lessa in a school competition outfit. Again, this is just Dae-yeon in a alternate situation. If he had like good house life parents. Over here is a little map of the facility that we needed for... No, actually, no, it's not the facility. I think it's Jacques' house for their story and their novel. Lessa and Dae-yeon, they are looking at the Starry Night painting, I think. Random sketches, very ugly, terrible Frederick, terrible Lessa and Dae-yeon watching the Heffalump, because Candy and I were watching Winnie the Pooh and the Heffalump. This one I do like, actually. This is the first decent drawing in this part of the book. It's obviously Dae-yeon and Lessa. Actually, the backstory behind this was quite simple. It was that there is a trial going on in their story slash webcomic slash everything else that happens, and Lessa is called to be one of the witnesses of such trial, and Dae-yeon accompanies him, and I wanted them to kind of have this mysterious slash kind of don't want to be here but also want to be here look. And so I had fun with it. I quite enjoyed the background as well. This is still from that same scenario slash chapter. It's them at a little cafe just discussing, and maybe I figured somebody took a picture of them. This is one of Lessa's cousins. Her name is Anita. This is another scene from that trial thing, except this is Melanie, this is Vasya. It's other characters, basically. A very ugly picture of Killia. This was based off a scene that was happening in one of the chats that Bae and I were doing in order to put together some of the events in the story. So yes, she was talking to Dae-yeon and she was having food with him. That's a drawing that Lessa made of himself. I was trying to study a style that's kind of like ugly but cute at the same time. Killia being surprised at something that happened. Okay, and starting from here, the sketchbook starts to take a little bit of a shape. So this is the very first chapter of the book, I think. This is Lessa being taken by Genya, which is who's his uncle, actually. I wanted to color the whole thing. I kind of wish I didn't color the jacket, because the whole picture kind of looks nice with just the skin colored in like this. This is Dae-yeon's phone. This is actually a significant time and day. Riven, he's from a different story completely. He's looking at Aaron, and this character duo we're actually kind of working on still, because there were two separate couples that Bae and I had thought of Riven with a certain person and Aaron with a different person, which is this person. But then we sort of shifted the dynamic, and now we are trying to decide how we want the two of them to be. Oh, these are the pictures that I made for a reel on Instagram. Maybe I will insert it here and just skip the pages instead, but I did that to the music of Romantic Homicide by, I think his name is just David. I like this one. This one might be my favorite. I'm sorry, I know I could very easily turn them, but I'm not going to. It's just because it's too much effort for something that I will just put the nice version of over here, so you don't have to tilt your head. Then there is Lessa and Dae-yeon, Damien, Claudia, and Lessa. Lessa and a tiny ghost. This is actually due to situations in the stories. He actually can see ghosts because she can, and they're together. They work together on this sort of ghost hunting, soul hunting journey. He happens to only be able to see some of them, but he doesn't have the same ability as her. Then there is what was this? This was another meme. This was actually a scene from a Winnie the Pooh movie we were watching. Candy and I were watching Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie the Pooh was asleep, and Piglet was talking to Owl, and we thought it was really cute, and their colors and sizes reminded us of Lessa and Daeyeon, so I drew Lessa as Sleepy Pooh, and Daeyeon is talking to whoever it is that would be Owl. Chapter 1 of Lessa's novel, first episode of the comic, maybe, I'm not sure, we're working on it, we'll see, of him being in the car and trying to warm himself up. Okay, so this is still a series of drawing from the trial scenario. So there is Daeyeon, Damien, and Lessa, and they were being asked questions by press and or people present at the trial. Really love Damien. This is actually a picture that I like in this sketchbook tour. Who knew? I think we're close to the actual halfway part where I'd like to be. There is D'Artagnan, Lessa and Daeyeon. Again, I'm sorry for going fast. I just kind of want to get to the more juicy parts of the sketchbook. A spread for Claudia's birthday. We were trying to see what kind of gifts and such they would bring. So that's Damien writing it because English is not his first language. That's a ghost cookie. That's a ghost cake. That is a courtesy of Lessa, as it says. And Lydia, because it's a reference to Beetlejuice, so Lydia Ditz. And Ditz, I'm not sure what her name is, or rather I don't remember. And it's like a goodie bag thing. Gift of a little ghost necklace. And then Damien and Claudia over here. This was for her birthday, and it's decent. I kind of like this one. It's not too bad. I actually enjoy it. Oh, okay. This is a picture of Lessa and Daeyeon as small children. I was trying to study a way to refine some of the characteristics of them as children, because I quite enjoy drawing Daeyeon, even though he's technically originally Bae's character. So he's Candy's character, but I quite enjoy drawing him. He's a favorite of mine. So I was trying to draw him out, and then I was trying to shape Lessa in the same way that I would shape him, since when they're children, they don't have such a drastic difference in size and height. We were also reading at this time the Song of Achilles, and we got to the part where Patroclus is described as owl for his big eyes, and it was funny because Daeyeon has very large eyes. The shape is really nice, and so we both laughed and thought that it was fitting for him. Then there is a colored version of this. There is actually... This is terrible. I hate Lessa's. This one is really cute. I like Daeyeon's. Then... Sorry, there was a phone call incoming. I had to stop, so hopefully I kind of got the camera in the same spot. I was saying. Then, after that, I have this little sketch of Lessa and Daeyeon in a hot spring. This was actually a sketch for Lessa's birthday. I didn't know what to do. I hated pretty much everything. Every time I would draw something, it would turn into a miserable experience, so I just conjured something up, and then I came up with this because they enjoy being in the hot springs. these were little chibis that I did for Lesa's birthday. This was actually a little thing that happened in The Sims. So we put Levi as one of Lesa and Yun's children just for easy access, and this little prompt came up from the Sims themselves that Levi was not invited to a friend's birthday party, and so we said in game to go and ask why that was and to insist and understand why that was the case, and the game still said that the friend was mean to him. So it was quite sad. It was very sad. We did not expect that playing the game to get distracted and then something terrible happens. Lesa, Dunya, and Kilia, and the colored version of the picture that I did, that I sketched for his birthday. D'Artagnan, Levi, Lesa, and Yun. A map of where the stories take place, where the novels take place when they're all in the same universe. I won't turn these because I still don't quite like them, but still. This is another character. His name is Aristeas. Enraged. Yes. This was a study of Aristeas. He's supposed to look very similar to Lesa, but they are different characters. So I was trying to study the way that he looks through different stages of life. Lesa, Yun carrying Lesa, just a little meme thing. I'm not sure what that was. Okay, finally. I can relax now, as this is the part where it starts to get nice. I might record a pre-intro thing to be like, hey, so 20 minutes in, it gets a little bit more interesting. So I got these markers at Lidl in Christmas time. I think it was like Christmas Eve. They were on sale. They were nice. There was like $2.90 each, so there was no way that I could have left them there. There we go. So this is the beginning of 2023. So this was actually the end of 2022. I drew them having the last kiss of the year, and then I redrew this for the beginning of 2023, and I began drawing daily. So this is Lesa and Yun welcoming the year 2023. I will not be like turning the sketchbook for the upcoming pictures if they are complete double page spreads, because the camera just can't quite fit them in the view, but still. This was the first picture. So this is a picture of Jacques. I was studying the way that he was dressed in the chapter we were talking about, and the proportions are a little whack, but I do like the way that the lines and everything look. Okay. That character that I mentioned before, Aristeas, and this is supposed to be another character that is his love interest. In the beginning of the year, we were doing this thing that we used in quotes from quoteoftheday.com or something like that, best quotes, and we would simply follow the quote and draw a picture that went along with that quote. Tatsiano, just on the bed. I liked this pose. I sometimes do this while I'm upset, so that's what came of it. Lesa and Yun, except it's Lesa, but he's actually hallucinating Yun there with him. He's not actually there. Yun dancing. I like how in this book there is a lot of Lesa and Yun. I was quite into an obsession mode with them. They are comfort characters, but later on, because I felt guilty about this, I stopped. And even now I am drawing them, but less. So it's a little bit of a, it's something, I will tell you that. It's something. Yun and Lesa, but the proportions were absolutely whack in this. And this is still Yun, but he was dancing. This is because we've made this joke and this meme because in The Sims he's completely unhinged. As soon as he hears music, he starts dancing and breaking it down, that he just really likes to dance and he really likes music. Okay. I won't show the one at the bottom, it's just a mental breakdown, but this is Lessa going to, I guess, sightseeing, I suppose, in this little island thing. And there is a huge statue behind him. Yes, also Daeyeon in the camera looking at himself is quite funny. Alright. Wow, characters that are actually not Lessa and Daeyeon, that's fine. So that's Daeyeon over there. And then these two are two other characters. This is actually Esther. In our universe, he is the representation / personification of death. So he's sort of like the human incarnation of death, and that's Adonis, his love interest. I'm sure you can kind of get your conclusions from the fact that his name is Adonis and he's literally death incarnate. Tiziano and Emiliano, this was for Epiphany. So the feast of Epiphany in Italy, the holiday of Epiphany in Italy, where we get stockings with sweets. And so they're both Italian. I gave them that. Daeyeon as Pixie from Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. I'm not sure if any of you is a fan of Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne or the Shin Megami Tensei games in general. Maybe you've played Personas, maybe you've played something. Pixie's really cute. I like Pixie a lot. I like her allegiance to the Demi-Fiend, and how in the remastered version they dubbed her when she's like, I've never seen a demon like you before, and it was quite cute, quite nice. We enjoyed that. Lessa and Daeyeon both here. They're walking through the streets of Lemnoria, and over here they're having dinner, and he's just observing him doing social things, as in like ordering food that he's not particularly fond to do, and Daeyeon always takes it on himself to do. Okay, this picture is the sole reason why I waited to film this video to begin with, because like I said, we were reading the Song of Achilles, and I wanted to not spoil the Song of Achilles for Bae, because she had never read the Iliad and she had never read this book before. So this is a picture of the other characters I talked to you about, Aristeus and Danaus, but the pose is taken directly from the statue of Menelaus carrying Patroclus's body to the camp, to the famous statue that portrays that. And I didn't want to make this video yet because I didn't want to say that and her to be spoiled before the end of the book where that happens. And this instead is a picture of Lessa and Daeyeon just cuddling. I hope that there's no glare of those. I had to put tape on most of them because there is pencil lines and they end up smudging a lot. These two are both vertical, but I will just do this one first. This is Daniel from a story that's called Out of the Dome. He's a military person. He's a general. And this is Alexios, who is another form of that other character, Aristeus. Alright. This is a very uncomfortable format of sketchbook to do videos for. This was for Duel's birthday this year, and this was for just a little concept art of Daniel. Basically just a little shot of him, not really much to say. Ooh, these two, I quite like them. I love drawing old people. These are Anthony and Gil from Wards and Warrants. They are older characters and they take care of another character in the series whose name is Lawrence. He's the one in the beginning, but they are very cute. They are servants in the household in which he lives. Then there's this. I will mostly just glide over this. It's a picture of Lessa. It's a small comic scene of Lessa. I won't spend too much time on it because it's pretty self-explanatory, but yes, I had to move a little bit because my foot is falling asleep and I'm on the floor. This was for Daeyeon's birthday. It was a redraw of it. And this was from still his birthday with Dan Tanyan and Levi inserted into the picture. This is Barem. I won't turn this because I quite loathe it as a picture. It's terrible. But he's from another story. He's the head of a set of revolutionists. Lessa and Daeyeon cuddling. I just thought it would be a cute thing since he's so much larger than him, that he likes to cuddle onto his lap. And so I did some very basic shade, like basic flat colors of it. Uriel, he is another character that I really like. He is, the best way I can describe it without giving away too much and without going on a tangent, is that he is a demon king. He's like the head of, I guess you could say hell, but not in the way that we imagine it. Hell is kind of envisioned as some sort of large office building, which I can't really say that it's a wrong depiction of it. This is Hildegard from the universe that used to be Crown Witch, but now we have renamed it to Coat. There she is. And then there is a picture of Danaeus, that other character that I have presented. This is supposed to be when a major event in the chapters happens and he's sort of placed into this, I wouldn't call it a dungeon, it's more like an underground basement type thing. It's supposed to be similar to a dungeon, but he's in the area that it's more, it's a safer area, not necessarily with all criminals and such. These are two pictures of the same characters. This is Daniel, the same character as before, the one that I've called, probably wrongly, a general. And instead, this other picture over here is a picture of him with his uncle. His uncle looks completely different now, but I didn't know back then, so I simply drew a guy's head in a way, which I suppose it's even worse. Okay. Still small Daniel meeting his uncle and talking to him for the first time. And then this was for Pavel's birthday, which was January 27th. Yes. So we're getting to the end of January. Fabrizio, some Fabrizio drawings. So this was the day that I finished my master's exams, and, well, not my master's actually, my post-grad exams, and I wanted to commemorate it. Fabrizio as that meme of the white little animal thing that doesn't know what's going on, because there was this quote which sounded like a philosophy quote, and he's just the type of student that doesn't really get that type of subjects or stuff, and so I drew that. He's much more artistic and creative. Fabrizio and Solomon trying to understand the quote. Then this is Din, which is technically still Daeyeon, but not quite. It would be difficult to explain, but the best way I can explain it without going into a 3-hour-long rant is that there is different versions of Daeyeon, different versions of Lessa, all of which are just as truthful, just as real as each other, so it's not like they are alternatives in the sense of like they don't exist. They all exist, just on different planes of existence. And this is one version of them, which is not the version that was seen before. It's not the version that where they were being cute and such. Frederick, and I was having a bad art day on the 30th of January because that looks horrible. Then there is small Fabrizio, and this is how he drew Frederick. Whereas this is how Frederick drew Fabrizio instead. Still terrible, but at least I feel like more childlike. this is where I found vegan croissants at the store. I am not vegan, but I am vegetarian, though I also don't really drink normal milk, like cow's milk and such, or yogurts, because they hurt my stomach. So I guess you could say the only thing I have which is not vegan is cheese, but sparing. So when I do find some vegan products now and then, I just buy them, because sometimes it's nice to have something that's not necessarily the healthiest, but it's quick and easy when you study and work and do all of these other things to have breakfast with. So when I don't feel like making porridge or hot milk and like some toasts or whatever, I will have one of those. They were good. I liked them. Vay's vegan, so he's eating one. I much prefer the fruit-filled ones, not the chocolate ones, but they were still good, so I enjoyed them. Thank you, my local Lidl, for giving me breakfast options. Yevhen and Alia, his mom, she passes away when he's quite young, and this was him remembering. I was like reimagining. It's not necessarily reimagining. He's remembering something that resurfaces in his memory when he was in school, and he's showing off his good grade because his mom was still there, and he's quite proud of it. I put a bookmark here, probably because I needed it for reference. This was me being quite overwhelmed at the beginning of February. I was due to graduate, and there was a lot of issues going on with school, with work, with life in general. My family had something really bad happen in late November, December, and so things were still quite rocky in January, and you can only imagine this is the beginning of February, literally the first day of February, and I was kind of on my own when a lot of things were going on, and I was trying to come out on top of it. This is supposed to be either Lessa or Tatsiano. It doesn't really matter. They look similar when you cover all of their distinctive features. When you have curly hair, that's kind of the same texture. Wavy, it's really up to you, and it's either of them. I remember not sleeping for maybe 2-3 days, only getting a few hours of sleep because I had to study for some finals, the very last ones before graduation, and so it was quite harsh. This is that other character that I talked about before, Aristeas. I wanted to challenge myself with a different angle of him looking down. I'm not exactly sure who he's looking down at. There is a scene like this, but we are yet to decide, so we'll see, I suppose. Oh, okay, yes. I wanted to go back to this, and I never quite did go back to it. I most likely won't. I will probably just color her skin at some point and then call it done. But it was supposed to be this sort of promotional poster for another story, which is called Dawn. This is Perseus or Percival, depending on the time in which you meet him. That's Dahlia. That's Lessa's hand holding an arrow. Oh, I'm yet to paste this in because I was waiting to finish the picture in front of it, and it's Aristeas and that other character. This is after that other dungeon / basement scene that I was talking about. He goes, picks him up. Gadriel, Adraniel, I like him. He's cool, but this picture of him does not do him justice in the slightest. Oh gosh. Goylin, I won't turn this because that is very ugly. A very terrible picture of Goylin. I'm not gonna lie. This one is fine instead. It's Lessa in school. He gets bullied, but not necessarily. Again, I don't condone any type of bullying. Every bullying form is just as bad as the other. What I'm trying to say is that he doesn't necessarily get very heavily bullied. Kids mostly make fun of him rather than bully him in ways that you would say are scarring or bad or completely violent or similar. And he's fine with it in the sense of he doesn't justify it either, but he's like, well, could be worse. And he doesn't pay mind to it. He has a hard time distinguishing when something is very malicious versus when something is just kind of thrown at him. This is still that trial scenario that I was explaining in the beginning of pictures that I did like, except it's Lessa at the witness stand and he has Small himself there watching him because the trial has to do with things when he was a child, so that's why I thought it was a cute concept. Lessa in winter outfits. This is Perseus, or Percival, the one that I was talking about before. I can sort of spoil this. It's no secret. He falls in love with a human. In this form, he's sort of like a celestial being, a god of sorts, if you will. Falls in love with a human, doesn't end well. He wishes to help him, cannot do it. And this is the reaction of that. Again, I was more daring with the poses in this time of the year. I was using a poser, which every time I use a poser, things go wrong, but it looked like it was going well for this part of the year, at least. Then Daeyeon and Lessa being cute. This was because we were watching Sanremo, and I was it really doesn't matter unless you're Italian, but I was rooting for a singer called Tananai, and I really like this song, of course. It's a singing contest. Then there is Daeyeon watching, moon watching, I suppose. He was just supposed to be in thought, attentive, and that was pretty much it. There's not much to say about some of those. Okay, these next ones are just self-indulgent. They are based off us watching Sanremo. This one was Lessa and Daeyeon hugging in a field from a chapter that we have to finish. Tatsiano crying because I was crying. Based off of Sanremo. Based off of Sanremo. Based off of Sanremo. Based off Sanremo. Same thing, same thing, same thing. And lastly, I think this is the last thing, Dunya and Kilia based off Sanremo. Yes, that is it, actually. There isn't much else to say. So the drawings aren't particularly interesting in the first half of the book, and they only get better in the second half, so I will make sure to put a disclaimer for it. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed this fiery dumpster, this shit show that was going on. And I perhaps will see you soon at some point. Maybe I will do an update of old drawings. I have a bunch of sketchbooks that I haven't shown. But yes, thank you so much for watching, for enduring this if you did. And I will see you whenever next. Bye bye.